galactic civil war spreads across the sun. From the heights of Coruscant to fiery Mustafar, to fight the evil empire, for people join the fray. These are the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast where I'm playing in Edge Studios' Age Rebellion system. This is Arc 3, Intermission Episode 3 of The Hard Road. And I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure, and I'm using they-them pronouns.
I'm Erica, and I'm playing Norin Gremian, they-them engineer scientist.
I'm Henry, I use she-they pronouns, and I'll be playing Isasel On, using she-her pronouns, and she's the ship pilot, captain, and local gay panic.
All right.
And outside the windows, we just see the view of Varia City disappearing behind the Corderosa range. The last glimpses of it visible for just a moment before it's just mountains and flora as they make their way through the mountains to the family homestead. It's quite a while on the bus. It's probably, we have to make camp once it gets too dark to continue to drive safely, even though it's a lot brighter outside than you would expect from normal nighttime out in the wilderness, because there's these little pinpricks of light that are bursting in the sky and then disappearing like just sort of a twinkling overcast cloud as far as the eye can see. Once the sun sets fully beyond the horizon, Korik pulls over. Lunala and Norin and him get the sort of like the kitchen set up out from under the floor and set about making a little outdoor camp space to match the indoor camp space. Norin walking around perimeter with these sort of thin mechanical looking posts they set up and start fiddling with in a radius around the ship, the bus.
Isasel looks over and just kind of like, I'm going to assume those are sensors, so I'll leave it at that. And she looks over to Cork. Cork, is there anything I can do to help?
We've got the meal almost ready. Tea is just about steeped. Give us about 5 minutes and everything should be ready here. Nice time for a good discussion amongst people out where no one can hear but us.
Those are my favorite discussions. She smiles and kind of heads the trail away.
Lunala looks at her dad and is just like, did you mean that to sound as ominous as it did?
Sometimes things need to be discussed where few people can hear.
Yeah, but that sounds like you've got a blaster with her name on it, Dad.
I do have to protect my children, and someone did bring an Imperial here.
Norin's on the far side of the bus, so they heard none of this. They're not sensors. They're dissuaders. They keep any of the big guys out there from wanting to get too close.
But much more useful. But yeah, Isasel just sits the trail away and just looks over to him real quick. And is like, Chole, can I tell you something that... Do you know what that I've been meaning to tell you for a little while?
Oh? Do tell.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you did on the last mission. We couldn't have saved as many people as we did if we didn't have you there, too.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I did sign up for ISR. They've got a very good reputation, and they are taking care of me, which is a fair thing. How else should I repay them? And those people needed help, especially after what that brute in the Star Destroyer did.
They did. But you went above and beyond that, Troway. You did so much more than you needed to. And thank you for joining my crew and sticking with us, despite our strange beginning.
Oh, thank you, Captain. I mean, where else can I show off my talents as well as be able to fix such a eclectic co-drive yard ship? I mean, I can't understand how these just never took off.
Honestly, same. I'm really surprised these weren't more popular, but I guess that means more for us, huh?
Well, yes, for those who know, it's definitely a well and truly used sort of ship.
She smiles, just kind of like, just like pats Troway on the back. She's like, "You're a good guy," and all that. And just kind of like walks up the head to Norin to like help finish, put up the sweaters, or just be there with them until it's like time to like for like dinner.
Norn's setting up the post and making sure that it's like the last one, so making sure that the legs are secured, and then hitting the buttons and checking the lights, and sort of just reach out their hands like, "Can you hand me the spanner?"
He still just grabs a spanner, like hands it over.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain.
Norin, you know you don't have to call me Captain here.
It's
And she kind of like kneels down to help hold on to it while you work on it.
it just might be better to maintain a distance, even outside of work. Professionalism.
I know that I should. And I'm sorry that I just came here so suddenly, but just the thought of you not coming back, even though it was just from a garbled message. I don't know why that. Well, I do know why that scared me so much.
Norin finishes tinkering with the dissuader, as I called it, and sighs and sits down cross-legged beside Izazel, and then leans back, lying out on the ground to look up at the sky.
And he still just like lays next to them.
I spent the first 17 years of my life on this planet. You know, this is the first time I've gotten to see the festival. It's only every 90 years. So, my dad has gotten to see it before. My mom has gotten to see it before. Though she's not going to get to see it this time. Which is... It's different every time, you know. It's caused by stardust gases in the local nebula. You know, it expands out, and our orbit sort of goes through it. These little pockets of it. It's a little unpredictable, but it's still pretty steadily every 82 to 100 years, and how often this happens.
Oh, predictably unpredictable.
Well, we've been here for millennia.
Well, I'm glad I get to be here to see it with you. I know I came here not knowing what it was, but just hearing about it from you, feels like it's one of those life-changing moments.
I think I was really mean before. I don't really remember all the things that I said or who I said them to, but I would like to apologize.
Thank you, but you don't have to, Norin. You were stern, we were in bad situations. You were doing everything you could to help us all through it. Sometimes it's not with the nicest tone, but sometimes we don't need to hear that.
Well, you didn't get the brunt of it. I guess I should really be apologizing to Keitran to...
You'll be able to apologize to Shen one day.
And then you hear the sound of the 7-string Halixet starts as Lunala on the other side of the bus is playing. And it's kind of a sad song. Or at least its tempo feels sad. There's no words for you to really determine intent from, just your own interpretation. Norin sort of, like, you can see their hands go up towards their face, around their eyes, and then they push themselves back up and brush the dirt and the dust off of their clothes, and then turn around and hold out a hand to you.
He still takes their hand and kind of like stands up, and you know what? I need to make a decision. we're gonna let the dice decide.
Nope.
Eh?
No. This is a different, like. This is more of what she was gonna do something regardless. I was like, what direction am I going with this? She like gets up, but holds on to Norin's hand, and just kind of like looks at Norin, and just goes, like, you actually see like a little tear coming out of her eye. It's like, stops. Thank you for saving me, Norin. Not just the surgeries and being there for me, but thank you for saving me from myself. It's been a long time since I've had something to live for. Someone.
Norin lets go of your hand, but they don't step away. They smile. Still sad, but sincerely. Not a forced grimace, not an awkward gesture, a genuine smile. And then they loop their arm through yours, locking elbows. Come on. My dad makes the best hot cocoa.
That sounds amazing. And she kind of like wipes her eyes a bit before getting back to the camp.
Yep. And we go back and we sit around the campfire and we have lovely hot cocoa, and Dad breaks out his, I can't think of any other instruments. And I don't know if this is an instrument in Star Wars, but now it is, baby. He breaks out his 5-string Halixet, which is a bit smaller and has a different sound to it, of course, than the 7-string Halixet does. And they trade songs back and forth. And even Norin sings a little bit. And then everything sort of winds down. Does Korik wait for like Trelway and Izazel to call it a night before talking about specific things?
I'm going to go on. He was thinking of that, yes. But it was how you came back. Thinking, well, if Trelway is what he appears to be, a defected Imperial, and then Izazel is being accepted, then, well, this can be brought out in front of them. We can kind of trust them. So, yeah. As the night winds down, Korik would essentially start it off with, Lunala, Norin found something while they were on their last mission. Or something found Norin.
Oh? Lunala kind of straightens up in her seat. Hides a yawn. What'd they find? As she looks over at her sibling, and her sibling's not girlfriend. And as the silence stretches, she just looks back and forth between Korik and Norin. The smirk fading. Because she knows that Norin's last mission did not go well. I mean, the not girlfriend is missing an arm, for crying out loud. What did they find? Or what found them?
Well, it's a bit of a family matter, but it makes sense to say it even in front of these ones. Norn found some evidence that your mother is still alive. And with that, Quark will flop the hollow recording projector thing down onto a seat between him and Lunala. Not turning it on, but like just sort of leaving it there for either Norn to scoop up or for Lunala to hit play.
Norrin has kind of pulled their knees up with their arms crossed under their thighs, chin resting on their knees as they watch their sister. Lunala doesn't hesitate. She just grabs it, pokes around at it for a second, because it does take a little bit of mechanical know-how that she doesn't have to find the play button, but she does. And then she's watching, listening. Seems a little too agreeable for Norrin's taste to the anti-imperial sentiment. Like a little hell yeah, leaves Lunala's lips at one point. And then there's the glimpse of Hava.
It leaks.
It leaks. Authority is brittle.
Oppression is the mask of fear. Remember that.
And Lunala looks confused. And her eyes flick to Dad and flick to Norrin as she tries to find if there's like a rewind button or something. Can't. Has to watch the whole message again. And then she turns it off. So, Mom's not dead. Mom's fighting the Empire. It's this big secret. Why? Like, why? We thought she was dead. She looks to Norrin for confirmation, and Norrin kind of like nods along, like, yeah, we thought she was dead. And she looks at Corey like, you thought she was dead.
It was easier to think that she was dead than the conditions that she has got to be living through. I had to be setting aside my concern, my love for her, so that I could be here and be a rock for you two. And, well, make sure that things have a chance of recovering on Miriel. Sometimes people can move, sometimes people can't, and, well, Hava and I made our choices.
Dad, that sounds an awful like you knew she was alive and that you let us mourn her for years.
Until seeing this, I didn't know. I feared. I didn't know.
No, you just got weird messages once a year, Dad.
Yeah.
Norrin says.
Hava didn't want what she was getting up to come back to you two. It was easier for everyone. It was safer for everyone to think that she was dead. Especially when we wanted to give you two the chances to lead happy lives, to lead flourishing lives, even in this Sithscape of a galaxy.
That is some steaming Derek Krug, Dad. What we needed was... What do you mean she thought that what she was doing would reflect badly on us? When she chose to leave, like, she could have just stayed. I don't think Norrin or Lunala know a certain thing about Hava. But Korik does. She goes off to play hero in the galaxy fighting the Empire and can't be bothered to send a birthday card? And
Fighting the Empire is not something that one does while having any ties back to the living. Any of the living then get visits, find opportunities taken, find themselves being overly examined. For teens, that's more than what anyone should ask them to deal with. We wanted you to have childhoods so that you knew the value of life. To draft you into something like this, it's not a playing hero. The things that she would have had to have done over the years, I've no idea exactly, but at this point, if she hasn't been branded a terrorist, I don't know how. When the Imperials are acting the way they have, with the quick changeover from the clones to the stormtroopers, taking in and brainwashing all these children, it was so much. We didn't want to do the same to you. Just because it is her fight, just because it is my fight, does not make it your fight.
of course it's our fight, Dad. But you've blindfolded us to it. I can see ever since it's not as bad here as it is out there. And leaving home unprepared for that, I've had to struggle and work and study so much harder than I should have to at the conservatory. And I think that if I had known, I wouldn't have chosen this. Heck, I would rather be wherever Mom is right now, making an actual difference. I can't. Lunala gets up and just walks away. Her hand tight around the neck of her Halixet.
And what about you and your band here? Waving around their 5-string Halixet at Norn and Izazel and Trelway. You were the ones who were being recruited. Force knows what it was that you did to do that.
We didn't do anything. I didn't do anything bad. I did nothing. This one, Norn points at Izazel, just disobeyed Imperial orders for, waiting a minute to land and threw us into the path of a ion cannon firing down on the planet we are on. And then gave permission to our gunner to hunt Imperials. And that was what caused us to try and get recruited. Because it turns out one of the rebel people on the planet was the sister of our medic. And she's the one who gave me that thing. And there were just stormtroopers everywhere. So much destruction. I don't know if we did anything that actually helped that planet. Because our action caused them to crack down even harder on the people there. And I don't know how this is going to affect Lunala's life or how it's going to affect your life. I don't even know if we are still going to have a job with ISR by the end of next week.
Were the Imperials already there? Were the Imperials already doing things?
They were. I could speak a little more to this. I should show you something so you can understand why I know the things I know. And looks over to Trelway. Trelway, I trust that you know how important what you're going to see is. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna burn because in order to use dark side pits when I'm not a dark side user, I know it's strained. Do I also use?
You do have to flip a pip. Yep.
Yeah, which there is a
Good.
pip.
I have 1 pip.
Details.
So Isasel kind of like she strains and she kind of like puts her like she puts out the arm that has the cybernetic like stump right now. She like closed her eyes towards Norik.
Towards whom?
Towards Norik.
Norik.
Cork?
And yeah.
Cork.
And just like Cork, sorry, I keep putting their names together in my head. So sorry. She looks over towards Korik and just use the extra pip to like increase the strength and lifts him off the ground and holds him there for a couple of seconds and it lets him back down. She kind of just like holds the side of her head. It's like, that's not always easy to do. When we were orbiting the planet, I felt the disturbance. I felt pain. And I let it make a decision for me. I put us in danger. I eventually would go unconscious when I fell off a building. I was shown a vision of what happened. The Empire was on the planet. They opened fire on unarmed civilians. Caused the turbo laser factor to explode. One that me and Norin had to stop from exploding even more and destroying the planet. The Imperials were already killing and planning on hurting people. I just put us in the way sooner than we should have. Unprepared. I do accept responsibility for the harm that came to the crew after that, but as is all things with this Empire, they were going to hurt people regardless. They were just looking for an excuse. If it wasn't Kidra, there would have been Shen's sister. It would have been a Yulin leader, a doctor. They would find the excuse to hurt someone, to hurt anyone, to oppress. We at least got someone who could help off the planet. We left them with supplies as we have our people figure out how to break through everything. The dark forces come across the galaxy. No matter what we do. And she kind of looks at Norin. So why not push back with some light?
Norin just looks at their dad. I'll quit if you tell me to. I'll find a different job somehow. Stay home, maybe.
Your friend here has said that by you and your crew being in there, you were able to save them. Save a city, save people. What more could I ask? Yes, you went into danger, but for the best of reasons. And danger is all around. Here, keeping the incursions as small as they can be has turned into beyond a full-time job, making it so that their stay is less than comfortable, carries so many risks, but sometimes it's all that we can do. You have been force-blessed to be doing something where you can do actual good.
You get cut off as Lunala like just yells from the steps of the bus, "Are you doing Rebels things too?"
Looking after friends can be considered that, yes. It's all I'm doing here is helping friends. Friends help me. Sometimes community support is all that we can do. It's the way we survive.
Oh, for all the mother's ranges, and she just turns and stomps into the bus. Norin looks at where she disappears and then turns. I think she's feeling left out. Like, she's not mad about resistance. She's mad that she doesn't get to. I love her so much. I do. I love my sister so much.
So do I. Guess we're not going to have to worry about the scholarship for much longer.
Yeah, that'll be one less financial burden. Though I think we've spent less on the conservatory than we did on my doctorates.
From the sounds of it, they were well worth the money. Though you might want to take a look at your employers to see if you can get any repayment for that.
I know some people. We can see what we can get figured out for that.
We'll see. Okay, guess I'm not quitting today.
Giant smile just comes across Isasel's face, and she just hugs Norin. This is the entire situation a bit stressful, and she just hugs Norin.
Oh, okay. We're still going to have some discussions on how we are actually going to be doing things going forward. So that, the giant pile of deer egg cruck, as my sister put it, we don't step directly into it. But yes, fine, you can be happy. As Norin just sort of accepts and leans into the hug.
I'm sort of figuring that at that particular point, Trellway is just hands over heart, just going, "Aww."
You know what? When Trevor does that, he still kind of laughs and just looks down at Norin, just like, Norin, thank you for you. And she kisses Norin. She's taking a risk. It's what she does. So that blast her with her name on it.
Don't push you away. But when Izazel pulls back, Norin's normally lighter green skin is much darker, and they kind of nod and then stand up, and she's like, I need to go to the refresher. Bye. And walks away.
Isel just lets them walk away, and as soon as they're in the bus, Isel just kind of starts spinning, and if you've ever seen an excited anime girl gif, that's all the only way I can describe how she's acting. And then stops and turns around towards Korik and just and calms down very quickly. I was like, oh well, that wasn't out of nowhere.
I just kissed my crush in front of their dad.
I am thinking that, especially with how quickly Izazel deflates, I'm thinking Korik's just laughing his butt off. The amount that you've already brought Norn out of their funk, it's wonderful. After the disaster of their previous job and the fleeting times they had from there, it almost seemed like they were on autopilot. Now, they're back feeling and doing things that make me proud, and I'm criffing certain that they would make their mother proud. So thank you.
Isel kind of just bows her head a little, just even if we didn't have the feelings we had for each other, I'd still would do everything for them. My crew, my friends, those closest to me, I've let too many people in my life down to ever do that again.
I'll hold you to that. And I have a feeling so will this one. To which Trellway just grins.
Norin comes back and helps their father turn down the camp brazier, I guess, or whatever, and pick up all of the cushions to take them back inside to settle down to sleep. Lunala is pretending to be asleep, but her little bundle of body on her mat is too stiff and angry to truly be asleep. Those may be fake snores. As Norin settles down in their sleep mat between their sister and Izazel.
Isazel's mat might be pushed against Norin's mat. We don't know.
Thank you for coming.
I don't think there's nowhere in this galaxy I'd rather be.
And they just roll over and poke their sister and settle to go to sleep. The next few days are like the eye in the center of the storm that has been Izazel and Norin's life lately. As they pack up the camp the next morning and make their way to the clan homestead, they go over a hill to this valley around this beautiful, like, pastel-y blue lake with these low buildings on the far side from the opening to the valley, and there's so many people there, children running around laughing. And when I say so many people, I mean so many people. Like, there's enough where there's like a whole little like festival thing set up where there's like activity areas and poles with like these big tents because there's too many people for the buildings set up, and storytellers. Over the next few days, Norin just seems the happiest Izazel has ever seen them and the most relaxed. And the sky lights up in a way that makes the previous night, which was so pretty and so beautiful, look like just average nothingness. It's this dazzling display of purples and yellows and oranges and all of these lights just constantly bursting across the sky in a kaleidoscope of colors that just does not end. Towards the apex, the 6th day that you've been on this planet, it's bright enough to even be seen during the daytime as well. Norin spends a little bit of time with one of the older women of her clan and comes back with a little bit of a back to patch on the back of either of their hands, as they have fresh tattoos for diamonds. Another thing that Izazel sort of notices is just how comfortable and physically touching that Norin is with their sister, with their father, with all of their cousins and aunties and uncles, and even to a little bit with Izazel as well. Not to the same extent. And it seems like most of the time when the two of them look at each other, there's a flush on Norin's face. But all things come to an end, and the lights in the sky fade, and everyone packs up and heads back to their respective cities. We're back at Norin's house, and Norin has their bag standing in the courtyard, Trellway and Izazel at the gate to the street with their dad and with their sister. Should I do what Mom did? Should I try and find her? Did you get that message? You said that it would be coming. On average, that usually when it comes right around now. Actually,
Well, now that you mention it, I did get a new 3-pack of music. It was by this weird band. I'm surprised that the courier even delivered it. One was called an Advanced Explosives Handbook. Whatever. Yes. I did get the message. The only meaning to the message is keep on fighting, and she's still alive somewhere. But the galaxy's big. So who's to say where she'll be? If you want to pick up the fight, both of you, it's yours to pick up, but only you can make that decision. I'll support you in any direction you go. Something tells me this ISR has more to it than you would think. Who else would send a ship to where they would expect something like what happened?
And it's not the first time we've run afoul of the Imperials either.
The Imperials are, well, consistent in how they operate. Don't worry about protecting me. I have enough friends around here, and Force knows why, but they seem to like me. I have a feeling, well, Lunella can tell you herself.
Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. And besides, it's so boring there. Nobody is interested in innovation at all. I think I could find somewhere better to be. Norrin grabs their family, and they grab her. And then they let them go. Send me those data files, Dad. I might be able to find something that you can't. I love you. Always.
Love you too.
And Elbow linked with Izazel. Norrin pulls her away from their home and back to ISR and the galaxy at large.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates at linktree/The Hydian Way, and you can find me on the socials at Deuterium Ice.
You can find me, Erica Goodwitch, and all of my mercenary work at linktree/Erica Goodwitch.
You can find me everywhere as @SimDisorder with one Y and one I in that order.
And we are all at thehydianway.com, where you can find previous episodes and previous seasons.
You can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, and plus, you can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
You can holocom us at heroesatthehydianway.com. You can find merch at tpublic.com/user/thehydianway.
And if you like what we do and want to support the show, you can with a CAF subscription at ko-fi.com/thehydianway.